What's going on in this economy and real estate market is truly criminal, and you're about to see why. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of real quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the US economy, the US real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, then definitely subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, if you happen to like the content in today's video, make sure to press that thumbs up like button, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When the time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the video. So I want to start off by showing you guys this short, eye-opening video clip. Take a look at this.
Home prices are continuing to climb, up now for 7 months in a row, again in December, with prices up 5.5% from a year ago. Let's say you wanted to buy a $400,000 home, assuming a 20% down payment. That mortgage, it would have cost you about $1,500 a month at 2 years ago rates. Today, with rates climbing, it now costs you more than $2,100 a month. That is $600 more every single month of your mortgage.
So if that's not bad enough, it's actually not true, as you're about to see. All right, so I wanted to first show you guys this mortgage loan calculation page to show you the true numbers for mortgage rates compared to what a lot of the media outlets are talking about, where they're saying right now mortgage rates are hovering at about 7%. That's not the case for most home borrowers. So take a look right here next to my picture, right at that top line number there where it says 7.885%. If we go across there to the left, it says 30-year fix. So the 30-year fixed rate is almost at 8%. For people right above that, you can see that have a credit score of 700 to 719. The reason that number is in there is because that's the average credit score for most home borrowers. Now, if you take a look at that number, we can do a drop-down menu right here, and let's just put in right here 800 and up. When you get to 800 and up, that basically means perfect credit, perfect debt-to-income ratios. Take a look at that. You're still at almost 7.3%, and that's for people at the very top end who are perfect borrowers. Now, here's where things change, because if we go back to this drop-down menu right here, you see at the top end, 800 and up, and then all the credit scores as we go down to the lower end. If we go down here, let's say to 660 to 679, look at where you are right now. You're at 8.2%. If we go down even just a little bit lower to 640 to 659, which is really near the bottom end, you're at almost 8.7%. So if we take the aggregate here and we go right back up here to 700 to 719, you're at almost 7.9%. Now that translates into a much different mortgage payment, as you're about to see in the next clip. So I want to show you guys this mortgage loan calculator page, and I want to break down all the costs in terms of buying an average price point home here in the US, which is approximately $400,000. The thing that bothers me the most, again, is when I showed you guys earlier in the video that ABC News clip, they talked about interest rates being at around 7%. Again, that's not true for most people, and I want to show you the full breakdown cost and the full monthly mortgage cost in this example here coming up. All right, so let's take a look at this top left box right here where it says home price. I put in $400,000 because, again, that's the average home price approximately right now in the US. In the box below it where it says down payment, I put $50,000 down because, again, that's about the average down payment right now on a home. In that media clip that I showed you earlier in the video, they talked about a 20% down payment. That used to be the standard when you used to buy a home when homes were cheaper. But now, because homes are so much more expensive, people typically cannot put 20% down, because in this example, that would mean $80,000. And a lot of people just don't have $80,000 lying around just to buy the average price point here for a home in the US. Right underneath that, it says loan term 30 years, and interest rate below that, I put at 7.885% because, again, I want to go back to that previous clip that I showed you guys where the average FICO score, the average credit score, is between 700 and 719, which means you're going to be in the upper 7 percentile range here for an interest rate on a home loan. When you take a look at all of these factors right here on the left side, look inside right in the middle of this blue circle here, and you see that number. $2,869 per month. So that number inside the blue circle represents your total monthly mortgage payment, and the breakdown is just here to the right. You can see at the top it says principal and interest, $2,540, property tax, $263, homeowners insurance, $66. When you add all of that up, You get the number right inside that blue circle, which is close to $2,900 per month. So you see, guys, these are the real numbers and costs that the average home buyer is going to be paying for an average home price here in the US right now. What I don't like about these traditional media outlets, like I showed you in that previous news clip, where they talk about a $400,000 home, a 20% down payment, which most people cannot put down, and a 7% interest rate that most people are not going to be getting. Those are not the real numbers. These are the real numbers that most people are paying, and you can see why it's become so cost prohibitive right now for most people to buy a home, because most people are going to have to come out of pocket almost $3,000 a month just to afford the average home price here in the US right now. Now, here in Las Vegas, where I happen to be located, housing inventory is very low and home prices have gone through the roof, as you're about to see in the upcoming examples. All right, so back by popular demand. If you guys follow my channel, you know that I usually go to the popular real estate website Zillow near the end of each of my videos just to show you a few examples of homes that are for sale here in the Las Vegas area, starting in the luxury category and then working down closer to the average price point. Now, I took a couple of weeks off, but hot off the press, I found a bunch of new examples here that I think are going to really shock you. Let's start with this first luxury example right here in the Las Vegas area. All right, so let's look over at the left side of the screen. You can see the current list price for this home is $2,950,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 5-bath, nearly 4,000 square foot home. If you take a look right down there, just on the bottom part of the screen right there, it's nearly a $500 a month HOA fee. So it's a pretty hefty fee on the HOA. But I want to show you, more importantly, down below, the price chart history, which is really going to shock you. Let's take a look at that right now. All right, so focus your attention right here down in the bottom left where I highlighted this in blue. That date in the bottom left says 3/3/23. So basically 1 year ago, this home was sold for $1.1 million. Now, the buyer removed the listing throughout the course of 2023 and then relisted this right at the beginning of 2024. You can see that date right there where it says 1/24/24. So this home has been on the market a little over a month. Look at the list price that they have it at. $2.95 million. So this is very obvious to me that this is what I call an investor special. What I mean by that is the investor bought this home for $1.1 million. They did a beautiful remodeling job on the home, but let's just say the remodeling job cost $500,000. So they're into this home for about 1.6, maybe $1.7 million. And instead of trying to sell the home for 2.1 or 2.2 and get about $500,000 profit, instead, they've decided to list the home for $3 million. This is nearly a 100% return on their money. Now, I understand everybody wants to make as much money as possible, but the greed from these investors in this post-pandemic time period is completely off the charts. And as a buyer, you need to be cautious of this, especially here in Las Vegas, where there's a lot of investors that even if they do a great remodeling job on these homes, they're looking for massive amounts of profit, and you need to be very cautious of this. Now, just to prove my point a little bit more on this particular example, take a look right in the middle of the page, right where I'm moving that small arrow cursor, just to the right of that. That date in that small box says December 2023. So this is just before the turn of the new year. If we go over to the left side of the page here, Zillow's estimate on this particular home was $1.2 million. So again, focus your attention right in the middle of the screen, right where I'm moving that small arrow cursor. Just to the right of that, that small box says listed for $3 million on 1/23/2024. So again, let's rewind the clock a little bit. The month before, Zillow had this home estimated at about $1.2 million. Then what happened was the buyer who bought the home and renovated it, they put the listing at $3 million. And look up here in the top left, the new Zestimate, that's the Zillow estimate, now automatically jumped from 1.2 to 2.9. Now again, they're of course factoring in that this person did a full remodeling job on this home. But to see a home go from $1.2 million, getting it fully renovated, and then putting it back on the market for $3 million is completely crazy, guys. This is why you need to be very careful when you look at these types of homes, because again, especially in the luxury category, there's a lot of these renovations going on, and this is not true value of an actual home just because a person put in a lot of remodeling costs. You need to be cautious of it. You need to get true comps from a realtor to make sure you're paying the right price, whether it's a luxury home or an average price home. So let's take a look at this second example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. It's still considered a luxury home here. You can see on the left side of the screen, the home is currently listed at $1,795,000. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, 4,500 square foot home. But again, more importantly, I want you guys to take a look at the price chart history down below to again show you the massive overpricing on some of these homes. And so focus your attention down here in the bottom left where I highlighted this in blue. That date in the bottom left says 4/29/2021. Now, if we go across to the right side of this blue highlight, it says that this home was sold for just over $1.1 million, just a little bit less than 3 years ago. Now, if we go just above this, right here on the top left side of that blue highlight, it says 9/6/2023. If we go across here, take a look at what the sellers decided to list the home for just 2.5 years later. $2.125 million. Now, even though the real estate market was going vertical during this 2.5 year time period, just think about this for a second, guys. The homeowners that bought this home, they bought the home for just over 1.1, and 2.5 years later, they're trying to sell it for 2.1 and make a quick $1 million profit. These are things that were never heard of before in the real estate market. In order to do this in previous real estate cycles, even at a home price like this, you used to have to wait 10, 15, 20 years to make that kind of home price appreciation, and they're trying to do it in a couple of years. And again, they listed this home, in my opinion, for too high a price point because, again, you could see just above it, they've now reduced the price down to 1.925, then 1.825, and now at the current list price, you can see right next to my picture there, they have it at just about $1.8 million. So they've reduced the home over $300,000 because, again, they were way too high to begin with, trying to make as much money as possible. And again, that was not the true value of this home, and it reflects it because there's no buyer looking to buy the home at that price point, not even at $1.8 million. All right, so let's take a look at this third example of the home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. Now we're coming down a little bit lower in price, but again, still well above the average price point, which here in Las Vegas, the median home price is about $445,000. But let's take a look at this example because this is really mind-blowing as well. On the left side of the screen, you can see that this home is currently listed at $949,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,600 square foot home, fully remodeled. But again, I want to show you the price history down below because this is pretty eye-opening. Let's take a look at that right now. All right, so again, focus your attention down here where I highlighted this in blue. The date down there in the bottom left says 9/3/1998. So this is over 25 years ago when this home was built. And we can see the sold price over here on the right side, which is kind of laughable. This home was sold at $234,000. Now, here's what I want you guys to take a look at. Take a look at the date just above it. It says 5/24/2023. The home was sold for $571,000. So let's rewind the clock a little bit. This home was built 25 years ago, and then they listed the home 25 years later for $571,000. So it went from $234,000 to $571,000 in a 25-year time period. So it's a little bit more than doubling of the price in 25 years. But here's where things change dramatically when we take a look at the date just above it. If we look at the date up here at the top left, you can see right there, 2/21/2024, listed for sale for $949,000. So let's just think about this for a second, guys, just to show you how crazy the overall real estate market is. This home sold 25 years ago for $234,000. Fast forward 25 years later, and the home sold for $571,000. That means that this home went up about 140% over 25 years, which is really not unreasonable. What's unreasonable is this. When you take a look at the date of the last selling price at 5/24/2023, that's about 9 months ago. You take a look here, fast forward to 2/21/2024. So this home was listed just a couple of weeks ago for $949,000. So this home went from $234,000 to $571,000 in 25 years, and now it's going from $571,000 to $949,000. That's nearly a $400,000 profit in less than a year, even though this home was fully remodeled. Again, this just goes to show you how crazy the real estate market is, and you need to really pay attention to what you're buying in this market because, again, this, in my opinion, is not true value, even though the home was fully remodeled, to see this kind of a profit in such a short period of time. All right, so let's take a look at this fourth example of a home that was for sale in the Las Vegas area, but recently closed. I want to use this example a little bit differently here because it goes back to my previous examples that I was showing you guys, where just because a home is listed by sellers does not mean that's the actual closing price or will be the closing price for that particular home. So let's take a look at this one right here. You can see that it closed at $755,000, but more importantly, I want to show you in the price chart history where this home was originally listed for. And then you're going to see obviously that this closing price was at $755, but it was much higher, as you're about to see. Take a look down here in the bottom right where I have this highlighted in blue. The date down there says 5/19/2023. So this is about 10 months ago. With this home, it's a brand new single-story home. This home was listed by the home builders for $900,000 right there that you could see. And if we just go up and we scroll up a little bit here, you can see all of these different dates and small incremental price reductions across the board as I scroll up here until you finally see that it was sold on 2/20/24. So less than a month ago, this home sold for $755. So the home builder had the price originally at $900,000, and they ultimately sold the home for nearly $150,000 below the original price. So again, guys, that just goes to show you that a lot of home builders, a lot of investors and homeowners, they're obviously trying to get maximum value for their homes. But again, the market is changing and prices are coming down. They're not at peak values like they were about a year and a half ago or so. And this is the reality of the market. If you're patient, like this particular buyer was on this particular home, they got a much better price just by waiting things out and settling on a lower number. All right, so let's take a look at this fifth example of a home for sale in the Las Vegas area. Now we're getting down closer to the average price point. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at $549,000. They did a price cut recently of about $10,000. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,400 square foot home. But again, I want to show you the price history down below in the chart here to show you the stunning kind of profit that the buyers who bought this home originally are now trying to sell it for in such a short period of time. Let's take a look at that right now. All right, so focus your attention down here in the bottom blue highlight that I have here. Take a look in the bottom left where that date says 11/30/2023. So that's just over 3 months ago. This home was sold, you can see on the right side, for $410,000. Now take a look just above it. The date just above it says 2/2/2024. So that is basically 2 months later. Take a look at the listed sale price that they had it originally listed for. $572,000. That's a $162,000 price gain that they're trying to make on this home in 2 months. So this, again, obviously screams an investor special to me. An investor probably bought this home, they did some renovations to it, and they're putting it quickly back on the market for a very significant profit. They've not been able to find a buyer because if you take a look just above it, they did a price change once, twice, and now 3 times in the past month of February, where it's now down to $549. So they've dropped it a little bit over $20,000. But again, guys, this is what I'm talking about. You got to read between the lines in this real estate market. There's a lot of investors out there, a lot of home builders and homeowners that are trying to maximize their value. That does not mean that they're going to get it, especially just because they've done a renovation. So let's take a look at this sixth and final example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. Now we're getting down closer to the average price point, which again, the Las Vegas median home price right now, average price point is about $445,000. So you can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed right now at about $490,000. They just did a price cut of about $10,000 a couple of weeks ago. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, nearly 2,100 square foot home. But again, more importantly, down below in the price chart history, I want to show you where this home was at maximum value during the peak of the real estate market about 18 months or so ago compared to where the price point is right now. All right, so I want you to focus your attention right here in the middle of the screen, right where I'm moving that small arrow cursor, just to the right of that. That small box says July of 2022, right in that chart there. That was the peak levels of the real estate market about 20 months ago. If we go over to the left side right here, Zillow had this home estimated right here. That small number says $547,000. So at the peak levels of the real estate market about 20 months ago, this home was valued at about $547,000. So take a look at the upper left side here where it says estimated market value. And then right underneath it, you see that number. That's Zillow's estimate for this particular home. They have it currently estimated at $478,000. Now, I've talked a lot in previous videos about Zillow's estimates and the way their algorithm tracks a lot of different data points to determine an estimate. Sometimes they are very far off the mark with their estimates, and then sometimes they're pretty accurate. Now, I've looked at the data on this particular home, and this is pretty accurate. The reason why I'm showing you this particular example is, again, about 20 months ago in the peak of the real estate market, this home was valued at about $548,000. Now they're valuing it at about $478,000. That's a $70,000 price reduction since the peak of the real estate market. So again, I know everybody's circumstances are different. Some people can't wait 20 months to buy a home, but just by being patient, This particular home right now, if you bought it 20 months ago, you would have been paying about $70,000 more. So whether it's this particular home or any of the examples that I showed you guys in this video, this is emblematic of the entire real estate market. None of it makes sense anymore. And the reason why I'm showing you guys these examples and how crazy some of these prices are is that we really at some point have to draw a line in the sand and stop buying at these kinds of levels, because the only reason these sellers are asking for these kind of price points is because people are willing to pay for them. And it's foolish and it's naive. And if we draw a line in the sand and we just stop buying some of these high ticket items like these homes in this particular market, prices are going to come down. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone when it comes to how expensive everything is in this economy, especially home prices. It amazes me that this continues on the way it has, but as history has shown us, home prices come down after we've had significant run-ups like this, and I expect this real estate cycle to be no different. Usually, real estate down cycles take several years before home prices bottom out. Now, the peak of this past real estate cycle was the spring of 2022. So we're coming up near the 2-year mark. So I think especially now, because this is an election year, it's going to take us well through 2024 and likely into 2025 before we see any kind of meaningful home price reductions. So before we end today's video, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite comment from last week's video. Now, I actually have two from last week that were actually really pretty shocking. I'm going to put both of them up here on full screen for us to take a look at. Check this out. So this first comment is from Johnny. If your FICO score is average at around 660 to 679, which many don't have now due to being saddled in debt, you're getting 8.5%. At 8.5%, you need to be earning at minimum $12,500 per month to afford a $500,000 home at around $3,845 per month. None of these numbers make any sense. Las Vegas has gone completely bonkers with regards to real estate. And this second comment is from Jeff. Sadly, Jerry is spot on. I know this because my daughter, who makes $66,000 annually, said between food and car insurance, etc., she can't even save up to think about home ownership. So sadly, those are just a couple of the many examples that I receive from my viewers every single week telling me how completely unaffordable it is for the average person to own a home. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know if you guys have been struggling to buy a home. I want to know if you're struggling just to even pay your rent, your grocery bills. Tell me what you're frustrated about. And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct on-screen shout out to in next week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I also hope you appreciate my transparency. You know that I'm always going to keep it 100% real on this channel regarding the economy and the real estate market. So like I've been advocating, guys, in a lot of my previous videos, we all know that prices are still very overinflated across many sectors in the economy, especially home prices. If you have time on your side and you have the luxury to wait things out, I would suggest waiting things out. Wait for home prices to come down. It's going to take a while. I think it's going to take us well through this year and possibly into 2025. So if you're not in a rush and you can be patient, that's the best option in my opinion. I know everybody's circumstances are different. Some people have to buy a home right now. If you are thinking about buying a home right now, especially here in the Las Vegas area, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When the time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you guys in the next video.